Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, I hope you're doing well, wherever you are. This is Ken the Revolutionary. Karibu sana, karibu sana. I hope I'm audible. Get in, get in. Mandamano, July 16th, 2004 has happened. A lot has transpired. So many stuff that's happening, whether it was in Kisii, whether it was in Kitengela, where the police had to be, wali were escorted back to their police station because they ran out of tear gas and so forth, so forth. So a lot has been happening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope my mic is good now. I'm trying to fix it. Karibuni sana, karibuni. I'll put the link before, please, if you want to be part of it, part of this discussion. You can jump in as I fix this microphone. Karibuni sana. As I get started, the first order of business, please, ladies and gentlemen, is to like the video, before we get started. As I fix this, karibuni. I'll be showing also videos, maybe not all the videos because some are gruesome, of people getting abducted. There's a young man who actually survived an abduction. So ongera to him. He was not captured by the police who were abducting people. Another thing that also surprised a lot of Kenyans is the familiar face, the police officer who was the same face that was captured last time involved in shooting innocent bystander protesters, was also seen again roaming around with a gun, wearing his mask. He was identified, wakampiga picha. So the Gen Zs are really going after these guys. And that's what's going to bring us to the mada ya leo, which is Ruto must go. Of course, Gen Z protests are gradually breaking him down. I forgot to put that down. Breaking him down. Protests are gradually breaking him down. They're breaking Zakayo down. Zakayo is being stretched. His government is being stretched. He doesn't have a cabinet. He's trying to find new cabinet members. And the police force are stretched. They cannot be everywhere at every time. And you can see them. They're frustrated. And that plays into the whole brutality. I'm not saying that's a reason for them to act the way they're acting, but I'm saying that also plays into this, why these guys are really wanafanya vile wanafanya. When you're stretched and every week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, ama jamaa wanatokea and they're protesting, and your commander maybe is commanding you to lob this tear gas and the crowd gets agitated. Things like that happen. So let me put the link in, so for anyone who wants to share with me what they think transpired, if you have any news that you want to share with us that you feel is important, please ingia. Kevin Olo, thank you very much. Na kuona hapo kama ingia kama kawaida. Haya, Kevin Olo, go ahead and like the video. Ndio hiyo basi, link ndio hiyo if you want to discuss. Sorry, let me just do it again. I didn't capture it. Karibuni. Like the video, ladies and gentlemen, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Do not waste any time. Hey. Karibuni. We are discussing, is Zakayo being stretched and will find himself resigning apende asipende, because there will be nobody left to defend him, to defend his regime. The police force are stretched. In fact, today you saw the orange gas that he was using that is said to be poisonous. That is a reason for him to go to The Hague. I mean, human rights advocates must be busy receiving phone calls, taking samples, because the gas that was used was poisonous. That stuff is not to be used by human beings. So, link ndio in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades. Ukitaka kuingia, do not waste any time, ingia. And thank you very much, Alison. Nakuona Alison Carol. Karibu sana. Like I said, Kevin Olo, nakuona hapo karibu. Yeah, the link is there. Please share with me your experience. What happened? If you're in Nairobi, if you're in Mombasa, if you're in Nakuru, Kitengela. Kitengela was, they stole the Ninio show today. Not to forget in Kisii, I think Nyamira town, where the youth went and walienda kwa Ninio, the place where the MCs usually make their laws, whatever the case is. They invaded it, demanding for answers. Let's not forget, is not Kapsabet. What there's somewhere where somewhere in Rift Valley where the youth also were demanding. They wanted to get into the governor's compound, saying that governor's mansion. They were saying, "Hey, listen, Governor Ujama, he's been corrupt." and the youth walienda wakamsalimia wakasema hey, fungua hapa. And interesting enough, the police never lobbed not even one tear gas, okay? In fact, they hailed and walimpongeza the commander there who was in the field for urging his troops not to lob any tear gas. And, you know, the youth wakaanza kumpigia makofi and they were, you know, they were thanking him for that. But the youth were there and they were demanding answers. So Gen Zs are stretching this administration. Like I said yesterday, if it's true that the Ford Foundation is behind this this protest, which I doubt, maybe it might be a possibility, then Ruto is cooked. He's gone. I've also suggested here that if the more effective way of doing this, just a suggestion, was to go straight to the State House, like they did in 2017, where everyone and everybody met in the CBD and they went to Uhuru Park. Then after Uhuru Park, they wanted to go to State House. Of course, we know the mission was aborted. But I'm just saying, if that was to happen, you know, I think the police forces will be overwhelmed. But regardless, these protests are still effective. There's 3,000 ways of skinning this cat. And indeed, it's been skinned. This cat is the Ruto administration. Ladies and gentlemen, the chat is, you can get in the studio and give me your opinion on what happened. Nimeka link up kwa chat. The link is on the chat. So do not hesitate. You can get in and give me your opinion on what happened. Let's see what people are saying in the streets of this statosphere. Let's see what happened. Again, you're welcome, more than welcome to get in. And please do not forget, like the video so it can go, the algorithm can kick it in so Ruto can see what's happening. We are going to communicate with him through every platform that we can, whether it's your X Space, whether it's YouTube channel, whether it's your Facebook, whether it's TikTok. We have to give him a message, and the message is Ruto must go. He is being broken down like molecules, okay? In particles, small particles, atoms, okay? We are stretching him out. Mandamano every Tuesday and every Thursday. Can you imagine if there was a Mandamano every day? This man will not last. But let me show you what's happening out there, because there's so many things happening. I mean, this is, I'm telling you, Mandamano, it is stretching him. It is stretching him. Let me go ahead and start with Gabriel. I kind of lost a little bit respect for Oguda, but I don't want to show this video. There's a video of the police who are brutalizing this young man. A journalist was shot. It's getting out of hand. And the most heartbreaking part was there were a bunch of kids who were walking. I think they were coming from school, and waleka kwa gari, and these poor kids were like they're not even more than 5 years old, and they were wiping their faces because of the tear gas. I mean, it was a sad scene. So you can imagine these guys. What kind of government does this to its own citizens? Okay, how do you expect this the people that you want to govern to listen to you if you are willing to tear gas young kids, children, okay, who are on their way to school or from school, and you did that? What do you expect? I mean, this is what we are talking about. This is what Gen Z are saying. You cannot claim to be trying to change and bring real meaningful change if you're still brutalizing the very people that you want to hold a dialogue with. And shame on the politicians who are suggesting any form of dialogue. There's no talking to you. Ruto, you must go. You must go. You must go. You must go. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but you're leaving. And it's not going to last. This thing is not going to last till 2027. You will be out before 2027. I can guarantee you that. Unless some miracle happens. I don't know. Some event, I don't know, and the Neo asteroid must fall in Kenya so that we can change our minds and say Ruto can stay. But Ruto must go. He has to go. This is unacceptable. Let's get to the videos. Again, the link is in the chat if you want to get to the studio and offer your opinion. Do not be ashamed. Come in, turn your phone, turn your camera. Niambie maoni yako. It's in there. It's in there. Do not be afraid. Speak boldly. That's the only way we can remove this Ruto guy. We are not going to smile with him. He has to leave. He has to leave. Now we can see some people who started started were encouraging this movement to go ahead, the Kairos of this world. Now wameanza kusema ati, oh, biashara economy is very now if you want to know that this government is confused and they are breaking down, wameshindwa, look at the reasons they are giving us. Walianza mara ati wa Urusi, sijui Russians are behind this protest, mara sijui a couple of politicians, sijui Uhuru Kenyatta is behind this ninio, mara Gachagua is behind this protest, mara sasa wanatuambia ati Ford Foundation. You see, they do not, that just shows me that they don't know what they're talking about. They don't understand. Mara sijui ati watu wengine wa diaspora, the ones who are ninio, mara sijui wakina Miguna, mara sijui wakina sijui nani. That's a clear indication that you don't know what the heck is going on. Okay, he is breaking down, so he's grappling for anything that he can actually have and stick with it. Okay, he's hanging on, clutching on straws, as they say. Okay, so now something interesting happened in Kakamega that I was really proud of. I told you yesterday that the main plan by this administration was to get goons to roam the streets, every CBD, Kakamega, Kisumu, Nairobi, and try to intimidate any protesters that were going to come to the CBD. In Kakamega, the GenZs actually went out there and disarmed these clowns that had clubs and had marungus, disarmed them and gave it to the police and told them, and then nyumbani, what are you doing? Which I was so proud of people of Kakamega. That's how to do it. There was no violence. I mean, I'm talking about as far as they were saying, hey, hapa kuna violence, msilete mambo ya violence hapa, which the people of Kakamega, rebel salute to you too. That's just wonderful. The GenZ just showed the world, the Kenyan and the world, that, hey, listen, we are not a bunch of disruptive young men and women who are roaming the streets as if we are bored. They showed this government, exposing it again, that they're not disruptive, they're not causing anarchy, they're not chaotic, they're not violent, they're not out there to touch cars and brutalize people. They went there and actually disarmed those who thought they could come there and intimidate or, In fact, there's also a place there was a case in Nairobi where somebody tried to throw stones towards the police, and the GenZs wakamshika wakamwambia, hey, wewe, hapa hatufanyi maneno, usilete hiyo maneno hapa. We don't do that here. Usilete hiyo maneno hapa hata kidogo. Do not. We do not encourage violence here, which kudos to GenZ. Again, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue, like the video, don't waste any time. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Alison is telling me that, let me see, those clowns had earlier been pictured talking to cops in the car. Yes, I saw that. They were talking to these guys were, they kind of wanted to coordinate with the police. You can just tell this is the government that was behind it, because they were talking to the police. Wana plan vile watafanya. There's one that I saw on the gas station somewhere in Nairobi where they were police wearing civilian clothes. I told you, I say this. This is the only way that they're trying to intimidate these GenZs, because they think GenZs are out there. They want to paint the GenZs as anarchists, people who are out there to cause mayhem, which is not the case. And GenZ are proving them wrong. Now, let's look at the protesters who have officially occupied Nyamira County headquarters and some other stuff. Interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, comrades. Do not forget, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Do not forget. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and the link is in the chat. If you want to come in the studio and give your maoni yako, please open your camera, iko hapo hivyo, hit that link, come in and speak your piece. Ama namna gani? All right, let's look at this. Yes, Henry Oyolo is saying Ruto must go. Yes, he must go. He must go. There's no ways around it. He must go. Ruto must go. Time yake imeisha. There's no way. We have to check in Ruto mpaka aende kabisa. There's no playing around with him. Here's a video of Nyamira County, what transpired there, if you don't mind. Here it is. If I can hold on. Oh, sorry about that. It's a 16-second video. So that was that was Nyamira, where they took over waliingia huko ninio. Baringo residents, that's what I was talking about. Baringo, I don't know if you guys watch this. Baringo of all the places. I never see in Rift Valley, besides Eldoret, I never actually imagined or thought that people would come out and express themselves as they did. A lot of youth waliingia. Thank you sana ama kade is that you say tukundani Ruto must go. Absolutely. Like na usisahau subscribe mara moja na weke notification in, so every time we come in you can always join the discussion. Your link iko hapo ukitaka kuingia studio. You're welcome. Thank you so much Arma, or I don't know how you say your name, but karibu sana. Ruto must go. Yes, Baringo, like I say, Baringo protest also. Majamaa walitokea wakasema hii Ruto mpaka ishie. Boss, if I'm Ruto right now, I'm telling you, I'm not sleeping in peace. Huyu jamaa hawezi kulala. He cannot catch a break. He cannot, absolutely not. Haezi. I don't know how he sleeps. But Yoni, I mean, that's something that he can worry about. Hiyo sio shida yetu. He has to go. He has let the Kenyan people down. And sometimes that's the price you have to pay. Oh, shoot. Sorry, guys. I just lost my camera. Just messing up. Hello. All right, I'm back. Sorry, watch it. Let me. Crap. Yes, sorry guys. As I was saying, let me fix my camera here. There's I'm just having a little bit trouble, so bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me. There you go. All right, we are back in business. So like I was saying, in Baringo, things were mambo ilikuwa different. People were not playing around, and Baringo is one place that I never thought it would be like this. I mean, if you, I don't know. Yeah, let's just watch what's happening in Baringo. Yes, Maingi Kamunya, karibu sana. Ruto must go. I believe that. Yes, I'm with you. Let us see Baringo. This is what happened in Baringo, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Like the video. This is Baringo. Tuangalie hapa Baringo ndio hiyo. Haya, Baringo. Yes, that was Baringo. I'm telling you, I never thought these are the perceived Ruto strongholds. That Ruto, we don't expect Ruto's people, people from Rift Valley at least, to kutokea hivyo, but they're not happy with their governors. So there you go. He's not at in his backyard. People are not happy with him. So Ruto is in trouble. Like the video, ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades. Like the video and subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and put your notification on. Tafadhalini, do not hesitate to do that. It will help you get on the algorithm. Ruto can see this and understand that, hey, listen, we want you to resign immediately. Not right now, but right now. Alison is telling me, can you please touch on the coincidence in the case of the dam site, the resignation? Sorry, let me say, can you please touch on the coincidence in the case of the dam site, the resignation right before so-called suspect of the 42 plus, the transfer of the whole Kware police, including OCS, please? So I guess you're talking about the transfer of the resignation of Kome, the transfer of the police, and all that stuff. I just want to first start highlight what's going on, then we shall touch on that in a few seconds, okay? So I got you. Just hold on for a second. Steven Onyikwa, karibu sana. Ruto must kwenda. Yes, mpaka kwende kabisa. I agree with you, Steven. Karibuni. Kelvin, aende hatumtaki kabisa. Yes. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's listen to this youth from Kware. Speaking of Kware, thank you for bringing that, Alison. Let's listen in. There's some youth who are expressing themselves and telling Ruto in his face, well, not in his face, but, they were making their voices known. Here it is. This is it. If I can
Jonzi machungu mili inanikera, pigania ama tukupige. Tuogopi kuongea. Wakati wa kudanganyana uliisha. Na wewe mwenyewe kwa kampeni zako nikikumbuka, ukikuja eneo la Kware ulituahidi mengi. Tuna nini? Majonzi machungu mili inanikera, hainifurahishi. Nikiangalia pale hivyo industrial area hapo public works, kuna cranes zimelala hapo. Tayari tushapoteza maisha. Bado tuna risk. Angalia mwenzangu pale chini, ana risk maisha yake kusaidia yule mwenzake aliyekufa. Sawa, swali nitakuuliza bila uoga rais, na siogopi kuangalia machoni na kuuliza. Leo ni hawa, kesho kaliba zenyu tunazo. Tuko hivi. Na ndio hizi rais. Imetosha. That's enough.
Very good. He expressed himself in a way that, very, very eloquent. Rais, what else? I mean, what else? Where are we going? Yeah? These guys are too much. Kakamega. Let me show you Kakamega. Hey, Kakamega pia. Hey. Leo kuingia studio nimekuwa ngori. Unaweza ingia studio. Nikuwekee nini yo link. Bwana Washi 54. Anyone can do it. Anyone. Let me see. Let me see if I can. Let me post it for those who want to get in. Wale wana jamaa wanataka kuingia, wanaweza kuingia. Aya, ndio hiyo basi. Wacha niwekee link. And right here, ndio hiyo basi. Ukitaka kuingia studio, ndio hiyo basi. Link ndio hiyo Washi. Aende akienda. Wacha nionyeshe Kakamega basi. Kakamega, here it is. Again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure. I know most of you usually watch the videos and you sit at the back and you don't want to contribute. Unataka kuona tu vile kipindi inaendelea. I urge you, finya tu like button na usubscribe, ndio every time tukiingia hapa ile siku utasikia that day when hiyo kitu utasikia hiyo issue imekuuma sana, you can always get into the studio kama kawaida. Bernard, amona hapo Bernard, I'll get you in a second. Let me just play this video really quick before I get your view on what's going on really quickly. Karibu sana Bernard. Let me see this video right here. If I can share it. This is Kakamega, what happened. Like the video, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades. Aya, ndio hiyo Kakamega. Hapa ndio wale majamaa walinyang'anywa marungu na kadhalika. Oh, Ruto amefanya hiyo kitu. All right, ndio hiyo. Okay. Let me bring Bernard. If I can take this out. All right. Washa ananiambia kuna network ni. Yes, usually kukiwa na maandamano, kama last time unakumbuka vile Ruto alitudanganya using Safaricom, lying to people that the cables in wapi Indian Ocean ilikuwa na shida, so it was being repaired, but we now find out that that's a lie because there's nothing wrong. Bernard, karibu. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Maoni yako vipi? I hope you're doing well wherever you are.
I'm doing good, yeah. Well, this is the same thing. This guy is doing what Mo is trying to do.
Which is, what was Moi doing? Some of us Gen Z, not me personally.
Just 1 second. Give me a second. I'll be right back.
Okay, so. All right. Just like what Bernard was saying, this was things that Moi was doing. I'll let him explain because there are some of us, most of us, not most of us, but some of the Gen Zs who are not here during Moi days. Moi ruled for 24 hours, 24 years. So being a Gen Z, if you're 12 up to 27, you're probably not old enough or not there to experience that. But in a nutshell, during Moi times, you could not speak publicly about Moi's regime or his criminal activities. Okay, mentioning Moi would mean being jailed. You'll disappear and not to be found anymore. Ama, you'll end up dead. So that's what happened. It was kind of a Gestapo state, so to speak. Speaking about Moi, I mean, people would terrified. Hata ukileta story jina Moi hivi ama be what, wazazi wako ngombe, hey kijana, hey, don't say that here. Please, don't. So times have changed. I mean, gradually people became bolder and bolder and bolder. Now people can actually come out to the streets and tell Ruto, listen, F you, you're messing up the country, resign. So that's the difference. Charles Kamanda anasema, aki Ruto akiendelea dunia imeisha. I'm telling you, sioni akiendelea. I don't know how. Ataendelea namna gani sioni. I don't see it. I know atajaribu kuleta hizi mchezo mingi, ataleta sijui akina Raila, ataleta sijui akina Gen Z, sijui atakafanya hivi na pale. It won't work. Ruto ikitu. Even if, in fact, okay, let's say if this thing drags up to 2027, okay? Let's say tufike 2027. And we go to the elections. If he rigged himself in to keep power, dunia itachomeka, Kenya itachomeka, because that will be as if he's just, which I think he plans on doing that. Ndio maana unaona those clauses on that new amendment bill is kind of weird. Ambao anajaribu kuweka clause ambao will give space to a possible rigging. So, I mean, either way, again, like somebody said, Ruto needs to do us a favor. Just resign. Solomon ameingia. Solomon, karibu.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, Bernard, go ahead before I bring in Solomon.
Yeah, so I was telling you, Moi tried, towards the end of the Moi regime.
Asante sana.
Ngoja kidogo, subiri kidogo Solomon. Wacha nani amalize alafu nitakuleta.
Moi tried towards the end of the Moi regime.
Bernard?
Yeah, I was saying, towards the end of the Moi regime, he brought in so much chaos to try and survive. And you remember the introduction of Mungiki. Mungiki was actually introduced during Moi's time, and moving around with police Land Rovers.
Yeah.
So as to instill fear and panic and confusion in society. So he was trying to make it look as if Moi goes, society is going to collapse. So you better have me here. Yes. And that's the same thing he's trying to do. By bringing all these goons and trying to make it as if he's not the president, Kenya is going to collapse.
Yes. That is what he's using his Ninio to convince us that, hey, Kenya ita collapse, the economy is doing nini. But here it is, like I was mentioning, I think maybe you might disagree. The advantage Moi had is, majority of the people actually believe that Moi had these powers that we cannot even, hata usijaribu. Like I was saying, even mentioning Moi in a public place, people will scold you, will tell you, hey, wewe, usiongee hapa. But now you see gradually through this, the years, Kenya wamekuwa bold. I mean, right now, Ruto anaweza hata kuwa shut down.
The only difference between Moi and Ruto is one thing and one thing only. The cell phone.
Right.
Moi could control Daily Nation, Voice of Kenya, media outlets were limited, and he had full control. It took days to get, the information out.
Right.
But
right.
And remember, Ruto is a student of Moi. That's all he knows. So he's doing things Moi style. But then, unfortunately for Ruto, information is traveling so fast because everybody has a supercomputer in their pocket. And every single Kenyan is a journalist. You can go somewhere and start streaming stuff from anywhere and give your own version of events.
Right.
So he cannot control information. That's why he's so confused about what's happening to him, because he doesn't understand.
Right. So, according to you, what's the best thing he can do to actually, let's say suppose he doesn't resign, what really can quell this whole mandamano? Is there something he can do besides resigning that can calm things down?
Yeah. There's only one option left for Ruto. If he did that, he can even make it to 2027, possibly even get re-elected, and that would be to concede to all the demands people are making on him, other than resigning, which would be, tomorrow we wake up, he has a press conference, he has fired all the PSs, and then he brings like radical people who might be some of them could be even his enemies, like Matiang'i, like Dr. Patrick Njoroge, like people who are so patriotic to Kenya. All they want is for the good of the country. And then behind the scenes, he reaches out to people like Uhuru Kenyatta and other people, other stakeholders, the private sector. He concedes on all grounds. He says from now on, it's Kenya only, no personal gain here. I won't sacrifice. I'll be working 16 hours a day. Guys, give me a chance. Here are the people I've listed. I have a cabinet of 9 people. We'll be working day and night. I'm slashing my salary to, 100,000 shillings a month. Like something like that. Kenyans can maybe look at him and say, you know what? Let's slow down on you and just give you 3 months and see what you're trying to do here.
Yeah.
But of course, he can't do that, because that's like asking Serena Williams to surrender tennis.
I think the problem is there's no trust in him. Anything he does from here on out, because he might concede, and I think you're right. He will try to do that, to say, okay, I will concede to what you guys want, but knowing Ruto, atacheza ile mchezo anacheza.
He can't. You see what he did in Nyandarua over the weekend. When he went with he appeared in some church in Nyandarua with Gachagua. And a few days before that, he had said he had banned Harambes from all civil servants, which is what the GenZs were saying. Where's all his money coming from? So, but when he got to Nyandarua, he told the people, "Oh, you guys, you need this church is a problem. Okay, put everything together. Give me the bill and write a check." People are like, wait a minute. You just said the no more Harambes. What are you telling us now? You're gonna just write a check to a church? Where's this money coming from?
Right.
You see, he doesn't know what he's doing or what he's saying.
Yes. He doesn't believe in what he's saying. I think, like you say, the biggest problem with Ruto is there's a trust deficit in this government. So no matter what he does, no one will believe him. No one believes him anymore. Your trust ukisha lose, and that's what's the most important thing when you're governing. Once the people lose trust in you, you're pretty much done. Nobody cares. You can promise everything and try to do the right thing, but it's like people wameamua. They're saying the only option for you is to leave, because there's nothing you can say to convince them that you are going to make things better. So I think that's the problem with Ruto. That's what he's facing now. Unless, I don't know. And then if he one thing, I don't know how it works, but if he resigns, maybe he will be a caretaker. Sijui election itafanywa immediately ama namna gani. I have to look into that. That's what, because resigning means him and his whole cabinet, which means him and Gachagua and everybody else. How do you think this is playing out, Bernard?
Personally, if he resigns, I don't think Gachagua is going to resign.
Well, because from what I hear, the GenZs are demanding for his whole government, which means him, the whole executive, a fresh elections. That's what they're calling for. Resign, parliament get dissolved, watu ende uchaguzi tena. Basically, that's what this GenZ, from what I understand, most of the things that they're saying from these talks, X-Space discussions. So it's not like,
but you see, GenZs are not GenZs are a revolution, so they're not legal experts, and no, we cannot enter into a legal, a constitutional lacuna or a constitutional crisis. And remember, someone like Gachagua is an opportunist. So the other day they couldn't let him use Air Force choppers, but now they're allowing him. Ruto is allowing him to use Air Force choppers because Raila has abandoned Ruto. So he's now reaching out to Gachagua, and Gachagua is, like I said, an opportunist. Now suddenly he's walking around with Ruto. They were together in Nyandarua, and Gachagua is telling Kikuyus to stick to their man because they voted for him, and even if he's a bad man, we put him in there, and we are, he's ours. You see the shift, because nobody wants to be in the cold. So if Ruto was to resign, Gachagua definitely will come and say, you know what, I never resigned. So, and he'll get some lawyers and some judges somewhere, and they're going to swear him in.
By the way, Gachagua's son has been abducted. Are you aware of that?
No, I'm unaware, but that doesn't surprise me because he's behind the GenZ movement. He's been funding the GenZ movement, and Ruto is angry with him, and Ruto is just bringing him close so that he can try and finish him.
So this will bring an all-out war against Ruto now that unajua ilikuwa chini ya maji, there were just rumors that he now this, if it stays that, kama because from what I saw, in fact, it's trending right now at Kimani. I think his name is Kimani or something like that. Gachagua's son. So this will actually be a catalyst for them going at each other live. Ama Gachagua sasa atasema, mimi sasa nimekosana na president. I mean, that's what I'm assuming. I don't know if that will happen or Gachagua will still. Yeah.
That's what's going to happen because, Gachagua was brought in to the Kenya Kwanza to do a very dirty job by Ruto. And his main reason why he was selected is to fight the Kenyatta family, which he did. So he's a gangster. And he was brought to the Kenya Kwanza administration, the ticket, because of his gangster credentials. So once a gangster, always a gangster.
Right.
And biggest threat to Ruto is Gachagua, in my own opinion, not even the Gen Zs.
What's with this Ford Foundation being behind the funding? Is there some new on this story, behind the story? Ruto?
No, that is Ruto being that's a diversionary tactic by Ruto. Remember, this is coming at a time when Raila Odinga has abandoned Ruto because of pressure from the public, and he visited that quarry where dead bodies were found. So Ruto was feeling extremely abandoned. So he had to change the narrative. And right now, he started blaming the Ford Foundation. And the only truth to that is maybe Ford Foundation, they fund Akina Boniface Mwangi conferences and people like that. So small checks here and there for that NGO stuff in Nairobi. But are they the ones behind the GenZ movement? No, I don't think so. But it's Ruto's way of diversionary tactics. But then that's very dangerous because the Ford Foundation, they're liberals, and so the American embassy is watching all this, and the American embassy doesn't want, these wazungus are okay with you if it's chini ya maji. Once you go above the surface, they're gonna wash their hands very quickly. And to make matters worse for Ruto is that his handlers in DC now are in crisis mode, trying to save Joe Biden.
Right.
So they don't have time for him. So he's having trouble all around him.
Good point. Solomon Pole, I know you're trying to get in. Like I say, I think Kenya kuna ninio. There's what do you call it? There's connection problem. Kenya. A lot of people are saying network Apple. I don't know what's going. There's a lady that says something. I want to play some video that's there's another lady who just spoke about Kenya and East Africa being a company. They are considered, the US and the British are considered. I think I listened to that and I was like, wow, it makes sense. I say that, I've been saying that Kenya is a country. I mean, it's not a country, but it's Meg Whitman actually said that, the ambassador. Then she corrected herself. But let's just listen to this clip. It's a very interesting clip. This lady made a clip on her page. And I was like, people are catching up. People are catching up. Kenya is not viewed as a country. It's a company. Muna produce. Here is this lady. It's a short video. Hold on.
So if you look at... Now, there are three people who always will tell the truth. There's our children, drunkards, and people whose mouths slip. So if you look at the video of the US ambassador to Kenya, as she is giving a speech, her mouth slips where she describes Kenya to be a company and not a country. Listen.
Also say I think this is a recognition of the importance of Africa to the United States. Kenya is the country that's being honored, but it is I think it's a recognition that Africa is a very, very important continent, certainly to the world, but particularly to America in the next 20 years. Why?
So now that you've listened, and all of you who have done some history know that Kenya and Uganda were actually what was in the East Africa called the Imperial British East African Company, never the country. And this was a commercial association which was founded to develop Africa trades in the areas and controlled by the British Empire. Basically meaning from 1888, the British people have been, to date, have been collecting taxes for their countries. So as long as we in Africa do not listen to such mistakes that they make, because it is actually not a mistake, this is how they see us behind closed doors. We are being considered and being dealt with behind closed doors as company, continued company. We fought for our independence, but what we got was an administrative independence and never economic independence. I always say that Africa must start to understand, must start to analyze what is white supremacy, what is the geopolitics of white privilege, what is
All right. I'll stop it there. But somebody brought it to my attention a few years back and told me that, you know, the CBK, Central Bank of Kenya, is not actually owned by Kenyans. It's not a national bank. This is owned by, it's a private company, just like the Federal Reserve. And I was like, what? It was like, Kenya. Remember even, and I'll ask you this, Bernard, you remember even Moi when he used to say, Kenya iko na wenyewe. So Moi knew something. Moi knew something. Are we still being ruled by the British? Go ahead.
That is true, and the lady has a very interesting point, and her points are valid, and I agree with the basic tenets of what she's talking about. The 10 largest employers in Kenya, number 1 to 10, are all British firms. So what she's saying is not too far-fetched. But I'd like to remind Kenyans that these things it's actually much more sophisticated and than it appears. Like, for example, there's some Kenyans in the United States who don't quite even believe that the two sides of government in the United States, the two political parties we have in the US, one strongly believes in neo-colonialism or imperialism. And to me, those are the Bill Gates Foundation, the Clinton Foundations, the Joe Bidens of this world, and the Ford Foundations in Nairobi, and all these things. They're the ones who have a chokehold on Kenya, the ones who rigged Ruto in. Then we have the other side, the conservatives and the right wing. And this is where you find Donald Trump. I'm personally voting for Donald Trump because Donald Trump and Republicans, actually Donald Trump himself, he's an isolationist. You know, he wants to pull out of the Ukraine war. He wants America less involved in global affairs, managing other people's problems, which is the opposite of what Joe Biden is trying to do, forcing Ruto to take Kenyan policemen into Haiti, a country that is actually francophone, has nothing to do with us. It's in the other hemisphere. We're not even in the same hemisphere. We don't even speak the same language. Nothing in common. So this lady is right. They're coming for our necks, and they have a chokehold on us. And the Kenyans who still don't understand this, who will actually vote for Joe Biden despite all these things. So these are interesting questions that we will have to think about.
I asked one of the callers, people in your, and from your view, do you think once Trump comes in, of course, Meg Whitman will be, her tenure will be over. Will it change the relationship between the US and Kenya, as far as will they expect more from Kenya, less corruption and all that, accountability and all that good stuff?
Of course, it will be like day and night. I keep telling you, when Trump was president, for the first time, the United States overtook the United Kingdom as the #1 source of tourists from Kenya. And I keep telling people, Kenya applied for Kenya Airways to come to the United States. It was approved by George Bush. And the first year the flight was supposed to run, it was approved by George Bush, but the first flight by Delta, Atlanta to Nairobi through Dakar, Senegal, was under Obama's first term. Obama canceled the flight on the grounds of insecurity. So when Trump invited Uhuru Kenyatta to the White House on a state visit, he asked Uhuru, what do you want from the United States? Uhuru told Trump, look, we want Kenyans to come to New York. Trump said, what's the problem? Why is he not coming? He said, I don't know. You tell me, you're the president. Okay, approved. What else do you need? That's how Kenya Airways was approved to come to the US. Because the Republicans want trade. They don't want imperialism. So the relationship with Kenya and the United States is going to change dramatically when Trump gets elected. In fact, Kenya is going to prosper. We will see less of control, less of manipulation, less of, for example, Obama asking Uhuru to allow men to marry each other in Nairobi. I mean, that's not what Republicans stand for. So the relationship between Kenya and the United States is going to improve dramatically. It'll be like day and night. And remember, here's another good example. Trump sent his wife to Nairobi, Melania, and she went to Langata, some place there near the national park. I think it's called Daphne Sheldrake. And she tried to feed a small little baby elephant, and this baby elephant charged her. She almost fell down. The video went viral internationally, and tourism just went through the roof in Kenya. Compare and contrast. Michelle Obama, Obama's wife, writes a book, chapter 2 of that book. Her worst experience in her life was when Obama brought her to Kenya.
Wow.
It's in the book. You can read it yourself. So these are the differences. And Kenyans just can't see through these things, Anyway, that's my take.
No, that's a good take. That's a good. Yeah, Kinzal. I don't know how you say your name, but he brought something interesting about the Rothschild, if you want to call him. That family, the richest family in the world, they're said to be worth trillions. They kind of have their hand on every central bank in the world, probably, including the Federal Reserve, all the private banks. Now,
but that is true. That is true.
Right. So my fear is this, and I had this discussion with somebody else on the day before, 3 days ago, something like that. If we have to have a president who really cares about Kenya, a true patriot who comes in and want to change things, will it really last? Because the West are trying to they're trying not to lose their grip on Africa. So are we going to see other, okay, let me put it this way. My hand, I see the West, I see their hands on this amendment bill that was passed in KICC, okay? Because the biggest way of subverting the democracy in many countries is through elections, the rigged elections. The laws that were passed there, iyo mambo ya sijui portable polling stations na sijui, only 2 of this coalition choosing who's the referee is, that's questionable. So I'm saying this, if you get a popular patriotic leader, let's say Okiya Mtata, who runs, he has been preaching against IMF since I don't know when. If you have somebody like that, will it really last? Because these people, they can assassinate you. I mean, Tanzania, we don't know what really killed Magufuli. The Burkina Faso president, I mean, he kicked the Americans out and the French. And the guy has I think at least this year alone, I think he has had 9 assassination attempts. So are we really doomed? We are stuck with these colonial puppets. Even if Ruto is removed, they'll just bring in another face who will come in and act like he's the savior. Then we'll go back to the same IMF policies and stuff. What do you see?
Well, politics functions only on one thing and one thing only: interests. Right. Mm-hmm. So all we need is a leader who's intelligent enough to align Kenya's interests with those of, say, the Americans and the British, which are actually, our interests are actually the same. They're not too different. So that's why that's why our strongest partners are the British and the Americans, because they want our tea, which we grow a lot of. We're the world's #1 exporter of black tea. They want to visit our beaches, which are extremely beautiful. They want to see our wildlife, and Kenyans, for some reason, are obsessed with British education and American education, and many of our people just like wearing Nikes and using, like, our interests are intertwined. So there's no issue. So all you need is a leader who, markets, talks to these people like the way, like a smart person, telling them, hey, look, this is what you want. Here, have it. Let's have free trade. For example, a leader who is so concerned about Kenya and getting Kenya out of poverty will negotiate a fast-track trade deal with the United States, which is in the best interest of Kenya and also in the best interest of the United States. So both countries will benefit, and a smart person can make that work.
I think both United States and Kenya are basically ruled by multi-corporations who basically pay for the campaign of these leaders. Of course, Trump may be the exception. I still have my little doubts about Trump. I brought it up because of this AIPAC thing. That's why a lot of people say America is led by Israelis, Israel indirectly. What I mean is this: American people have the best interests for Kenya, but the American leadership is the one that has been hijacked by this multinational corporations who basically own the Federal Reserve, and they're the same people who own the IMF, World Bank, and they want to make money off these countries like Kenya and Uganda. That's why I'm saying, Ruto, the things that you've just mentioned, Ruto, I'm sure when he came to power, he thought, I can make something work here. But then they probably sat him down and told him, hey, listen, this is what you have to do, or we are going to remove you. If you read the book, the new Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins, the former CIA who worked with the World Bank, actually says that. They go and tell you what to do, the policies that you have to know, and if you do not listen, we are going to remove you through popular revolution, which may be happening in Kenya, or assassination if they have to bring the jackals, as they call it. So that's why I'm saying when Ruto named the Ford Foundation, as much as I don't believe him, maybe alifika mahali akaona, you know what, the country is in Arabika, let me try to fix something going against the grain, what the West are telling him. Now akamwambia, oh, you want to, unataka kwa kichwa ngumu, toka, and we shall fund people to remove you. That's just my theory. I might be wrong. What do you think about that, Bernard? Bernard is still there? Yes, I agree with you, JPJ. Free trade is a disaster. It's not free trade, actually. It's not balanced. They are forcing us to, export for cheap and import for very expensive. Reverend Murikwa is saying, Ruto must go home. Na hatutambembeleza. Absolutely. Ruto atukubembelezi. Hiyo ndio ujumbe kutoka kwa Gen Z. Yes, guys, like the video, na msisahau kusubscribe. Subscribe, guys. Subscribe. As we continue, let me find another video that I was wanted to play. It seems like Ruto's days are numbered. My theory is this. Here's my theory of today. The reason why Gen Z and the brains behind Gen Z, their main goal is to stretch this regime. And by doing so, they're doing so by having this weekly protest. This weekly protest brings a lot of pressure, brings Ruto under a lot of pressure. Economically, basically, when the international community are looking at Kenya, they really don't have a lot of confidence in Ruto because he has lost the confidence of the people. That's why today ukiangalia news, Ruto was meeting this somebody from Ireland. They had a deal with Ireland. Why do you think if you go to Ruto's page, he has this signing a deal with the Ireland? Why do you think they had to post that? That is to try to convince the international community that listen, I'm still in charge. I still make the calls. We can still do business. Don't pay attention to what's happening in the streets. I haven't lost the confidence of a few protesters. I still can do business. I think that's the image that they're trying to paint to the international investors, okay? Because, of course, as a president, people will be making calls and saying, hey, listen, what's up with these protests? Are they really going to remove you? Everybody's like, Ruto must go is trending worldwide. On Twitter, it's number one. Nairobi CBD. So he has to fight and try to show that he still kind of holds a little bit of legitimacy. Bernard, is still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Cheetah is here. Let me hear what Cheetah said. Karibu Cheetah, what's going on?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, but you're kind of far away from your microphone. Can you move closer?
Okay, I'll try.
Hello? Try one more time.
Hello, is it better?
That's better.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, or whatever time you are. Greetings to you. I don't know how much I have missed. Can I go right into it, please?
You can do whatever you want.
All right, thank you, sir. So, first of all, my condolences for everybody that is hurting. That is basically the whole nation. So, apart from exceptions of a few who don't feel nothing, I think we know who those are. That hurts me. I think that hurts all of us that have some sense into it. Well, I think I was missing for a few minutes, and there was a gentleman here called Bernard, and I resonate with everything that he said. He made a lot of sense where the government, the protests are concerned. Mine is this, one of my things is this. It seems like we are chewing on it slowly, gradually, but slowly. What we need to do is I need people to appreciate those people that are coming to show their true colors up front. I think people need to appreciate that. Sometimes when you're with a crowd of friends and you're thinking, this is my friend, and then they do something unimaginable, I understand that you're hurt. But on the bright side, that is where you get to weed out the weed. That is where you get to be like, now I know who was in it. I know who was not in it. So I think it's a good opportunity for us also to realize like who is for us and who is against us, or somebody that is ping-ponging in between. So for all the soldiers working out there, props to you. Now, another one is the police. These are some morphos that I clearly cannot understand, or do they have, what was the name of that syndrome where like you actually start falling in love with the person that is oppressing you until you're like, because as a unit, we read you as a unit.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yes, thank you so much. Stockholm syndrome, where you think like, are you using your brain? Because there was this guy called Shakur the cop, or Cop Shakur. And what he revealed yesterday somewhere in a show, because he was asked, like, do you have, as a police, can you say that you will not do whatever if you think you yourself is unreasonable? And he said yes. So you see, I'm telling you, these days, I'm not even making fun of it. Some of the things that are coming up, it's like we have been so blinded. A lot of us are learning this law by force, such that it's like, okay, so why are you doing that? Can you really do that? And he's like, you have a choice. But then that choice has got consequences. Like he lost his job. He's being indicted for what he did. All right. In the meantime, am I still audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. In the meantime, the cop that we all know, the one with the hat, is still on the streets. His salary is well paid. No consequences have been followed up on him. No action has been taken. All right. Also, like the trust deficit, I think this is a song that even, I don't know, even a little child can tell you, yeah, I don't trust you. And then they ask themselves why they are not trusted. I mean, come on, it is right there. So I don't know why they're asking us, oh, but we are the good ones. You see, I got rid of the cabinet ministers. Why are you guys not chilling out? You see, I even left out all those that were my friends. You guys need to chill down. No. Have you called one parent of any of those children that were killed? Have you called anybody? I had him when Linus and those other great journalists were asking him about that. And he's like, as usual, tuta, nita. Yeah. I have plans to go and call the mother of the young boy. Yeah. He's alive, right? That threw me off the roof. And I think that threw everybody off the roof. Like, are you serious? But anyway, it's almost like an unfortunate thing that we have come like to get used to, but lucky now that we're smarter, that we can read the lie like from a mile away. I was present for a while, so absent, sorry, for a while. So I don't know if you touched upon the dump site. And for right now, there's somebody that also mentioned something very powerful that was like, okay, they found 42 bodies at the dump site in Kwara. Somebody brought up something that got me thinking. He said, how many dump sites do we have all over? How many of these quarrels that are open, such that maybe this was a statement, there are 42 bodies here of women only, and maybe in another one, hopefully not, God forbid, but it's a possibility, seeing where we are sitting right now, is that maybe they opened up another one for the men. You know, who is tracing this? Are you telling me also in the same sentence that we are so incapable of having even one helicopter, given the many billionaires and dollar millionaires that we have in the country, that they cannot come together, get a few helicopters to come start fishing those bodies? Why are they just looking? The work of the police over there has been like to come, supervise, and then bring a car, take the bodies. Trust deficit, they can't even trust you anymore because they have now even to escort the bodies to the mortuary. Why? Because they don't know if you're gonna do the dead worse than you have already done them. That's how bad it has become. As a nation, what I was hoping for, and I learned this, and maybe somebody else would like to know. Um, Personally, I didn't know, because I was like, why can't they just dissolve this parliament? I was like, somebody said, okay, the law of Kenya says this simply: if uh, the president decides to dissolve the parliament, that means even himself is dissolved. And that means everybody from the MCA to him, we all go back to the drawing board. We go back to the ballot box. You think he wants to risk that move? We're dealing with a coward, my friends. Let's keep on it. Kanyangia shingo, anapumua bado, still breathing. Step on it. Keep stepping on that neck. Still breathing. I don't even want to hear like a breath. Before we know it, he will be telling us what time to go to the toilet if we go on like this. Yeah. Tutashuka hapo vina constipation, it will not be funny. So I don't have much to say. Come on, let's laugh about it a little. Thank you so much for giving me your time. I would like to appreciate you so much for also giving us a platform to say whatever. So thank you so much. And
No,
everybody have a good evening.
no problem. Subscribe and like so you can get us every time we come in. I'll be back at midnight, Siku 5:30. Bena, do you have
Okay.
something to say before I wrap up?
Yeah, you know, Personally, I love politics, and it's a passion of mine, and I've always been that way. And for the longest time, I couldn't find Kenyans to discuss our country, but of course, because of the crisis in our hands, we are here now. Everybody is very concerned about the country, and it's good because a democracy is sustained by the vigilance of the electorate. So what I hope can come out of this is some type of organizations, or some whereby people can stay in contact. Because, like the young lady who was speaking a few minutes ago, if Ruto was to dissolve parliament, yes, it dissolves government, and we are thrust into fresh elections. But a fresh election means that we have to belong to a political party to vote. And right now, it's people are not even sure which political parties to belong to or how to maneuver, something like that. So we don't have the institutions in Kenya that like we do here in the United States, which are very clear, whether you're liberal or conservative, it's two clear ways you can go. In Kenya, we lack those institutions. So I hope, through this crisis, we will strengthen our institutions where we can go to an institutions to give our ideas, and then the institution can push those ideas forward. So we don't feel like we're instead, sea of chaos like we are right now. That's my submission.
Thank you very much. Just very quickly, I don't think you need a political party to vote. You can be independent. You can have an independent candidate be voted in. In the United States, we remember what's his name, Ross Perot in 1992, who ran for president. Actually, was making inroads. Kenya too. You can have an independent candidate, and still be voted as you don't have to be in a party. But I like the point that Nani alisema Chita, where she said, Neo could dissolve parliament. I mean, kila mtu anarudi nyumbani, including Gachagua and everybody else. So I don't think he shouldn't be happy to think that, okay, it's just Ruto who will resign and he'll take over. No. If it's dissolved, kila mtu anarudi nyumbani, mpaka kila mtu, MCAs, MPs, governors, kila mtu.
But those are two different things. Dissolving parliament and Ruto resigning are two different things.
No, it's not.
Yes, they're two different things, because a president can step down in the constitution due to incapacitation or death or whatever.
Right.
And parliament can be dissolved by an act of the president. Remember, Dr. Mutunga wrote a letter to Uhuru Kenyatta telling him to dissolve parliament on the grounds that yes, it's Maraga, to dissolve parliament on the grounds that of the gender issue.
Yes.
And that letter was on Uhuru's desk for the remaining part of his presidency.
Right.
He never acted upon it.
Yes,
because had he done that, it would have meant to the end of his presidency.
Yes. Hata yeye angechujwa, because he's the leader of the party, whatever, which his party will be dissolved, so he will cease to be president. That's why ngemta hivyo.
True, but then there's also another scenario where the president becomes incapacitated either through illness or whatever the reason.
Yes.
And then, of course, or be impeached, in which case just the president himself ceases to be president. And the person who becomes the president is the deputy president.
Right.
And that's the scenario that Gachagua could be plotting.
Right.
Because remember, he's a gangster. So he
Hi, Gachagua ni gangster. Usiingilie Gachagua hivyo, please.
Yeah, he was a DO.
Yes, Chita, you wanted to say something. Oh, that was Bernard. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that's Bernard. If you would allow me, I would like to talk about something completely unrelated, but
that's
please
fine.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. This is just a little bit of history for the gen from A to the other A that we are at right now. And I think a lot of history that we've been taught is completely catching up with us. Simple things like culture, things like that. But my thing right now is the police. do people even ask themselves how the police in Kenya was formed? Because before the police that we know as the police, as the government, every community had their own way of policing their things and making their community be in order until the disruption of the colonizer. Now, what happened, we started with people that were called home guards. And those were the ones that used to go and protect the colonial masters and their property, and snitch on the people that are actually fighting against the colonial masters. And these are the same people over time that got the biggest pieces of land. So this thing, when you hear something called Kiraoni, a lot of people don't even like think about it, what it is. It's actually the crown, you know, the British crown, the Queen's crown. That is like an altar that she stamped of authority, of how, yes, she left physically, but she left her mind here, and we took it over. Kiganjo, how can we not, after more than 100 years, why can't we make it into the morals of the society as we are as the indigenous people of that land? All right. Let all of these kind of things that were made, some things you can trace from the laws that were made in the 1940s, and they are still there. And you're like, what are they still doing there? So the thing is, it's almost like something psychological, if you ask me, that they are done to in the training to protect this crown. But to me, it's still a symbol, was a symbol of colonialism then, and it's a symbol of neo-colonialism now. So I would like to call for better training, maybe abolish all of these things. When we are talking about the crown, there are a lot of things that belong to the British that we signed 100 years of contracts for. Yes. And if you look at some weapons that you think, whether you're spiritual or not, you will see, why does something like the mace have to be present? When there is a meeting, there's something to, why can't it be in the basement? Right. And if anybody has ever seen a picture of the mace, please go and check it out. It's not only in Kenya, it's in all like British imperial former states. It is the crown of the queen. That means that is the symbol of authority. Go even look it up on internet. Let's know our stuff. Okay, let's not just be seeing a sword and then we like, it's a sword. The Constitution, who made it? The history book that you learn from in school. Because like I was a history student, and my grandfather and my great grandfather were one of those fighters. And what I was studying in the books and the story that these grand men of mine were telling me, they'll tell me the stories and then they'll be like, but child, don't write that in school, otherwise you're gonna fail your education. Yeah, true. Because if I go and write something that is not in the book of under Kenyatta Foundation, then it's like, how you think you be wise. Eh? Of course I'll get it wrong, but that will be the fact, you know. And we've been kept that way. I wish also that at basic school, completely unrelated, that we can go to the basics of children learning their mother tongue, or at least learning a mother tongue or a tongue of where they are born, you know. It used to be like, if you're, for example, from the Luo community, you'll be almost always in areas of Nyanza Western. But these days, it's becoming more like that same child can be born somewhere in Kiambu, somewhere in Malindi. Teach them some Mijikenda. I don't care, as long as it's African. Let's stick with the roots, because we're being uprooted piece for piece. The other thing I would really like to refuse with, I don't think if you have touched on it, you and Bernard, is the export of labor. And I'll leave it at that. Please help me out here.
No, that's a good point. Exported labor. Most Kenyans ask themselves, why is Ruto telling us that he went to Germany and you happy to find jobs for us in foreign land and not here. I mean, I say that's slavery. I mean, what was the whole idea of slavery? Getting young men and women to go work in the fields in the new land, in or foreign land. Why can't we? So, yeah, I totally agree with you in with this whole laws that in place, which still there's one law that really somebody was trying to get rid of. It's called it's about the duty, the land and the tax for lands in Aitwaje. When you die and leave your land to your family, there's a law in place.
Inheritance, something I forgot.
Yes, it's called I forgot it. I forgot it. But anyway, it basically spells out that with their names inscribed in the law, Moi and Kenyatta cannot be the land cannot be taxed. They cannot pay the land tax. They cannot. It's in the laws right now in the books. It hasn't changed. That's just an example. Also, the historical lands that have been owned by the British and the British company that has been there for, I don't know, last 100 years in the coastal areas. So yes, there's so much to cover about this. But again, without losing focus, I think remove, like Okiya Mtata said, removing the rot in the head, the fish rots from the head. If we start with the head of the state, now we can work our way down to change these laws with hopefully we'll have a competent legislative body, not these clowns that we have as MPs and senators. So removing the executive is number one. That's why it's so important, and I'm glad you brought in about that. If this parliament is dissolved and everyone goes home, we have a fresh elections. Now we can talk. But unfortunately, they were quick to pass that amendment bill, and now we have new rules of how we choose the referee in this coming elections. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I will be back at 5:30, which is 12:30 midnight in Kenyan time. If you live somewhere in the US, it's 5:30 Eastern time. If you live in Europe, probably it's like 10:30 English time, whatever the case is. For now, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Bernard and Cheetah, and you guys on the chat, Doreen Shihafu, John Gitonga, Bobby Caesar, David Mirika, everyone. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe and put your notification on. So every time I come in, you can always get that notification on that I'm on, and you can join the studio. You don't have to show your face if you don't feel comfortable, but you can participate in the discussion. This is an open forum. You can say whatever as long as you're not disrespectful or anything. We can discuss these issues and we can take it wherever. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Bernard. Thank you, Cheetah. Thank you, everybody.
Pleasure.
Yes, Shafiq Maureen, JPJ, Kinzel, everyone. Yasi, Charles Commander, Washi 255, Kelvin Lamayan, Stephen Onyinka, Alison Carroll, Maingi Kimunya, Arma Code, Harry Oyolo. Everybody, thank you so much. Kevin Olo, I said it, and everyone who's watching. And if you're going to watch this on repeat, do the same. Like the video, share, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys later at 12 midnight. Thank you so much. This is Kenya Revolutionary. I'll see you next time. Peace and blessings.